What's going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to make a video on how much I have spent on this car in the last year. So I bought this car October 17th of 2020. So 1 year was October 17th of 2021. Now, if you guys follow the channel, you know that I recently got the car tuned. That's not going to be included in this cost because it was after that cutoff period of October 17th of 2021. So I have talked to you guys about budgeting previously. When I budget, I count every little dollar that I spend. So with that being said, we're going to calculate the expenses per month as opposed to calculating every little individual item. Now, this does not include gas. This is just how much money I have spent on the car itself, okay? Oil changes will be included, but gas will not be included. Before we get started, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, and let's go ahead and see how bad it is. So I learned how to drive manual on this car. So when I bought the car on October 17th of 2020, I was more so of getting accustomed to driving the car as opposed to focusing on buying things for the car. So with that being said, I didn't spend much money in October. As a matter of fact, I only spent $10 on the car in October. So in October, I only bought a car wash mitt and I bought some interior wipes for the car, so I didn't spend much money in October. Now, when I purchased the car, I did take a loan out on the car. My mentality was that I couldn't fathom paying $13,000 for the car and just dropping this money on it. After making my first car payment on the Corvette, I knew that I did not want to do that anymore, so I went ahead and paid the car off. So in November, I spent a lot more money, okay? In November, I spent $529. Now, $332 of that was for my registration, the title, the tag, and all that other stuff, okay? Now, the reason why I bought the car in October, but this is listed for November, is because I list my expenses on when I pay them off. So more than likely, I put the title, registration, everything on credit, and then I paid it off around, November 1st or the first week of November, okay? Additionally, I also made an extra payment. So I made an extra $100 payment. That's included in that amount. I also had a headlight go out. I bought some brake fluid to try to fix my clutch issue. I bought windshield washer fluid. I bought decal remover because when I bought the car, there was a bunch of stickers on there that I didn't like. So I bought that. I bought oil. So these are just all the things that I purchased, small things, but it did add up to $529. Now in December, I did take it a little bit easier. I spent only $38 in December. So in December, I started noticing small things that was wrong with the vehicle, and I needed to put just a little bit of money into it, okay? One thing that was wrong with it is I didn't have a horn. So you guys know what kind of activities I like to participate in. And in doing so, I need my horn, okay? I need those 3 honks. So I had to buy me a relay for my horn. I also didn't have a light underneath the hood, so I had to purchase a light as well. Now in January, I wasn't far from that amount either. In January, I only spent $40 on the car, okay? Another cheap month. I bought an accelerator pedal. I have the rod that comes down, but it didn't have an actual pedal. And then my ignition bezel was broken. So I bought a new ignition bezel and put that on. Now in February, I only spent $20 on the car, and that was to get an oil change done. If I'm not mistaken, I already had the oil, but I had a buddy who works at a dealership actually change the oil, and I threw him 20 bucks for doing it for me. Now, March is when I started to go a little bit crazy with the car. In March, I spent $869 on the car. Now, in March, I wanted to make the car faster, and I wanted to get it to be more reliable and run the way it should. So in March, I brought a nitrous kit that was 450 bucks. Now the nitrous kit came with 3 bottles, all the solenoids. So I felt like that was a good deal to spend the 450 bucks. Again, 3 bottles, and 2 of them I'm pretty sure are filled with nitrous. I bought a TIC master cylinder to fix that clutch issue. And I also bought some differential fluid. So my car used to have this whine in the rear end, and I bought that differential fluid and some ramps in order to get it up in the air and change that differential fluid. There was mentions that that could be the issue, but it was not the issue. However, when I did drop that fluid, I did take it in to get analyzed, and that was another 14 bucks. Now, April was a crazy month for the car, okay? Now, as you guys know, April is the month that I took it to the track and I broke the car, okay? I broke the transmission, and the rear differential already wasn't doing well. In April, I spent $551 on this car. Now, a lot of that was on the nitrous kit, so buying all the lines, buying all the wires, buying the nitrous button. That was a good majority of it. In that month, I also brought the power stop pads and rotors kit. I got the Z06 pads, got the drilled and slotted rotors, and that was about 228 bucks in itself. This is the crazy part. The car broke on April 10th. So that $551 was spent in 10 days. Because the car was broken in April, I had a super cheap May. The cost for the car in May was $0, okay? The car is in the shop in May, so there's nothing that I can do to it or do for it. So I spent $0 on the car in May. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and jump to June. So in June is when I got the car back from breaking the transmission and getting the rear differential fixed, okay? Now, in June is when I broke myself, okay? This is when I was like, you know what, no more track. Maybe I should just use this car to drive around town, because it completely changed my perspective on the car. Got the car back at the end of June, and it hurt my feelings. You know, this is the most that I've ever paid for any car repair in my life. So in June, I spent a whopping $5,872 on this car. That was for the repair. The repair itself was 5,700 bucks. I had to pay for gas to get the car back. And although I'm typically not including gas in this video, I counted that because that's what it took for me to get the car fixed and to get the car back. So it's kind of like a tow bill in a sense, okay? So let's jump to July. In July, I spent a whopping $701 on the car. That included my plane ticket to go get the car. As I mentioned, I know it's a plane ticket, but it's in relation to the car and getting it back. It's like a tow bill. The car also went back to the shop 2 weeks after I got it back. The first time was 150 bucks because, same thing, because the rear axle was leaking. So again, differential issue, okay? Then it went back to the shop because the O-ring on the transmission speed sensor went bad. So again, things that they should have fixed, things that shouldn't have happened. I had to go get the car fixed at a different shop because they were so far away. I also bought a set of used tires for the front. That was 100 bucks. Joined the Corvette club. Again, I wouldn't have done it without the car. That was like 57 bucks. And then just small miscellaneous things. I also replaced the belts on the car because the belts were squeaking. Now, August was another big month, okay? In August, I spent $730. Now, I put new tires on the car, and those tires were 600 bucks. As you guys know, I put the Netto NT555 G2s on the car, and not a big fan of them, but I did buy the tires, and I will be putting something else on after I take those off. As I mentioned, I got new tires. I put the G2s on. I didn't like them, so I paid 70 bucks to get my radios put back on. In September, I started realizing how much money I was spending on this car. And I knew that I couldn't continue to spend the money I was spending, okay? I realized that I had gotten away from saving money, and in September is when it clicked that I needed to start saving money again. So in September, I only spent $143 on it, okay? My handwriting is getting worse and worse as we get further down, but $143 was spent on the car in September. So I was taking another road trip on the car, and that's why I bought the Netto NT555 G2s, was for road trips. So since I was getting back on the road, I spent another $70 to get the G2s put back on. Last but certainly not least, in October, so this is from October 1st to October 17th, I spent $238 on this car. Now, I started getting a wobble in the front tires about 100 miles per hour. So I took the car in to get the tires, I guess, balanced. That was about 28 bucks. I also had to pay for my registration for this car. And in Illinois, it's $151 to renew your plates every single year. So how much have I spent on this car in the last year as a whole? $9,741. That's right. That is absolutely correct. You're right. I could have bought another Corvette. So it wouldn't be this high if I hadn't broken my transmission. But these are things to take into consideration when you're modifying your car, when you're taking your car to the drag strip. This is how much it's going to cost if you break this car. A lot of these costs won't extend out to you because you may not take your car to the track. You may not drive your car often, so you're not changing the oil as often. You're probably buying a car and hopefully buying the car in better condition than mine, so you're not having to fix things. When people reach out to me about buying a C5 Corvette, I tell them, buy a Corvette that is in good shape. My mentality when I bought this car was that I can get it for cheap and then I can spend the money to fix it. I regret that. I paid $13,000 for the car. So now I am at $22,741 that I've spent on this car. You can get a great condition C5 Z06 if you look hard and do your research, probably for about $18,000 to $20,000, okay? I'm at $22,000 and I'm still having issues with my clutch isn't fixed. My heads-up display isn't working completely. Some of my interior lights, such as my climate control and my DIC, doesn't light up properly. So I still need to put money into this car, which is gonna take me way over $23,000, $24,000, okay? I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video. If you have a C5 Corvette, tell me what you spent in the year of ownership. And if you're looking to get a C5 Corvette, now you know what to expect, depending on what you want to do to it, okay? It depends on how handy you are. That transmission and differential job, I went to a shop, but if you did it yourself, you would definitely save some money, okay? Again, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Take it easy.